evening and welcome to another healing journey along this learning journey. And we're a part of our lessonslearned.org. We are a nonprofit 501(c) organization. And what we are, we're a crisis intervention organization. And we're geared towards helping the loved ones of those recently incarcerated or arrested. We didn't pick this. God picked us to do this. And it has been awesome because I'm still on the journey, and praise God, in 12 months, my son will be home. And believe
Amen.
me, no one can understand what this journey is about until they have been there. Lee, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Lynn, and thank you for being able to have me here once again. And so I'm so excited with our guest that we're having. I just can't wait to hear all the wonderful things that he have to say. And yes, we are a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization with all the wonderful things that you have brought to us tonight to let our guests know that this is all of what we're about. And again, we didn't ask for it. We didn't sign up, but we were signed up for it. And we also want to let our audience know about our upcoming event, our
Yes.
Back to Balance, where school success meets mental wellness. And that is slated to be on Saturday, July 18th, 2026, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Callahan Neighborhood Center. That's located in Orlando, Florida at 101 North Paramore Avenue, if I'm saying that correctly. And Hungry
Yes.
Lives Matter is partnering up with our Lessons Learned. We have the Brown Sugar Clinicians that's going to be out there with us. There's going to be school supplies with the backpacks for the kids. We're going to have food. We're going to have mental health services. We're going to have kids' activities, face painting. We got the hot dogs and all the welcomes or walk-ins are welcome. We have a good number of people that are signed up so far. So we're looking for an exciting evening or afternoon on that day. I think it's going to be a wonderful event. We also got DJs with us too. So the music will be there along with the food and the fun. So it would be great to have you there with us. We're excited.
Yes, we are so excited about that event. And as Lee said, this is going to be a different event. We're focusing also on balance, which is mental health. And it's going to be great with everything. And then don't forget, DJ Tremaine, he is known very well in the South, in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. He's also on the radio and does a bunch of podcasts. So that is also going to help. And we are just so excited, for everything that's going to happen. But in order to do that and help everybody, we need you. We
Yes.
can't do this by ourselves. I want
Mhm.
you to think about going back to school and how you were excited for school to end, but then in August or September when you went back, you were excited to get school supplies and get that list from the teacher and this and that. So, you know what? We need help this year because think about if mom or dad or both are incarcerated. Think about grandmom who may be on a fixed income, or think about an auntie that has other children and she's trying. We need your help this year.
Yes.
No donation is too small, no donation is too big. You can go to our website. We're on ourlessonslearned.org. There's also a flyer on our Facebook and it has a QR code. All you have to do is take a picture of that QR code. It's going to guide you to the PayPal account and you can make that donation. Again, we need your help. So please help us. Our special guest has not um he's not coming on yet. He's having a few challenges getting on here this evening. So right now we are going forth. And I want to let you know, yesterday I had the privilege of being on the ministering team that went into the prison. And I was with the Fisher of Souls ministering team, and I'm a part of them now. And it was so good to be a part of that group where Chaplain Jillian, she brought the word on don't be caught sleeping.
Wow.
And there's so much that we need to be awake for in this season. And there is so much. Those men appreciated the message so much. Did you know they don't have air conditioning? The heat index was about 105. So they were glad to come in. And one thing that impressed me, those men know the word. She had them stand up with the Bible verses, and they were saying their favorite Bible verses, and they all brought their Bibles, and they had a band,
Wonderful.
and it was so good to be able to worship with them and bring the word to them and the praise and worship. So that is something that the healing journey, the Our Lessons Learned, is also doing with the Fishers of Soul. Our special guest is with the Comeback Initiative. He is having some problems getting on. So I don't know how we're going to get him on here this evening, but we're going to go forth. And what I'd like to talk about this evening is the 14-year-old that was just sentenced to 35 years. And think about what that parent must be going through.
Mhm.
That is a lot. How can that parent heal from this? What do you think they're going through? Lee, can you answer some of that?
I honestly can't, unless you've walked in those shoes, Lynn. It's kind of hard. I think I'm not sure if I think he might be a little bit older than 14. The young man that we're talking about, with the um, with the stabbing, is that the one that we're talking about?
Yes, yes.
He's I think he was high school age, senior age in high school and stuff, and it was such an unfortunate challenge or thing that happened that particular night. And in the flicker of a moment, anything could happen. The unfortunate part about that is it was him, but it could have been my child, it could have been your child, it could have been any of our children that could have been in that situation on one end or the other of that or so. So it's really, really hard to imagine, but just knowing what I have gone through with my child, with my situation, which was different, my heart certainly leaps for those parents. So because two families have been affected, the community have been affected, the entire world has been affected, and we're looking for some justice somewhere within that or so. I know they have already handed down some things, but we're looking to see that hopefully something else will come about in reference to that or so. We can't bring that young man back, but hopefully we can keep this other young man from being, um, his life being destroyed, so to speak. And
Exactly. Exactly. And there's so many different things that happen when a 14-year-old is sentenced. You know, I'm sorry. Was he 14?
mm, no,
No.
he was a senior in high school, so he's a
He
little
was
bit
a
older than that.
senior. Yes, he was I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the one in South Carolina. There's been so many
Exactly.
different ones. I'm
Hmm.
thinking about the one that was shot at 14 in the
Hmm.
back,
Right.
So I'm thinking about that, but I want to also talk about when your child in high school is also sentenced, to prison. It's interrupted development at
Mm,
that age. Spending these years in prison can significantly alter normal development. You
mhm.
think 17 they're developed. Well, they're not. There are also mental health challenges. And think about that. Young people in prison may experience depression, anxiety,
Yeah.
trauma, hopelessness, or difficulty trusting others. And that is so, those are the challenges that the parents also are going through when they see that their children are suffering. Also, educational and career setbacks. Although some facilities offer educational programs, incarceration can limit those opportunities. There aren't there are only certain colleges that will allow you to pursue a degree being behind bars, skill development, and future employment. Being sentenced to 35 years, I want you to
Yeah.
do that math. Think of how that can affect the parents. They may feel that they have lost their loved one. Also, there's family separation, and that is it. I have gone through that separation on those special days, such as holidays, such
Mm-hmm.
as, those special moments.
Birthdays.
That is
Mm-hmm.
something, for the parents and the loved ones, missing years of family relationships, milestones, and support can create grief, loneliness, and strained connections. Lee, can you think back to when your son was incarcerated? How did you do on birthdays and things of that nature? What did it do to that family connection?
It was very, very different, Lynn. Uh, Teary, because and that's with the initial years or so, it's very teary because he wasn't there. So as we spoke at one point or another, there's an empty chair that's at the table or so. But as time went on, um, I got to a place where I could deal with it a little bit differently. And you have to work through some of those mental things that you go through when you're the caregiver of loved one and you're trying to support your person, your family member that's incarcerated, because they go through so much and
Yes, they
stuff,
do.
and you're going through a whole lot too. So the journey is for the entire family and
Yes.
affects the entire community or so. So there's a lot that you go through as far as your emotions are concerned, your mental state, your spiritual state, everything. Your whole person's affected by it.
Yes.
Thanks be to God, we can get through it or so. And I'm so happy, happy, glad that I had a supporting family and good friends that were there for me to support me as I supported him and as we went through the journey.
Exactly, Lee. I think about every year on my son's birthday, I try to go and be with him, on his birthday. And I pray that when I go visit him, it's not behind the glass because I want to be able to reach out and hug him and
Hmm.
tell him happy birthday and just give him that kiss. And sometimes when it's behind the glass, then I got to speak through that little speaker and things of that nature. So, those are important moments. And then, what? The family relationships, they also suffer and go through a whole lot if someone they're close to transitions and goes home to be with God. That is hard for them because they're not able to say goodbye. And I
Hmm.
remember when my father passed, I told my son, I said, this may be the last time you'll see him. He's getting weak. And it was something that embrace, from the both of them. That is something that just tears you up right there. And it was hard for me to let him know, dad's gone home to be with God. God called him
Hmm.
home. So those are the things that are hard for the loved ones. Also, institutionalization. After spending many years in the structured prison environment, adjusting to life on the outside is extremely difficult. And when we're talking about the structure, they have to walk on the line. They're told when to get up, they're told when to eat, they're told everything. So when they come out, a lot of times they are waiting to be told to do things. And
Hmm.
that is very hard. Another thing that adjusting to life outside is when technology has changed. You think about being in there for 15 years and we're on iPhone what? 17, and it's hard for them to really adjust to those changes. And, those are the things that are hard. So the first thing would be to get them up to speed on electronics, and that is going to help you. Well, good evening.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
I'm
I
all
know.
outside in the rain.
We
Oh,
got you. Welcome, everybody. This is Mr. MJ Evans. He is with the Comeback Initiative. And you know what? All glory to God because guess what? He did not give up. He
that's
kept
right.
on until he got through.
Hmm.
MJ, we thank you for doing that. We're going to turn it over to you right now, MJ. And I want you to just tell a little bit of your story and how you came to be the CEO of the Comeback Initiative.
Founder and
I
CEO.
right here, people trying to get in. I can see them. I went live myself because I couldn't get it on. So I don't know how we can do this because I got a lot of
You are live right now.
1,300 people, and then I.
You're
So are
live
they
right now.
my live stream?
You are live right now, MJ.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Okay, we got it. I figured out a solution.
Okay, you are live right now.
Thank you, everyone. My name is MJ Evans, National Director, but I'm the CEO, Executive Director of the Comeback Initiative Network, Reentry Workforce and Leadership Development, Inc. So what I'm going to do right now at this moment, so once I go to start talking to you all, I'm about to flip the camera around so that my audience can see you while we're talking. I believe that's the best way I can do it, and I can just continue to talk with you guys.
Well, they can see you. They can see you, MJ. Okay. Your audience can see you right now. Yes.
Okay, thank you, guys. This is my first time being on a podcast. I have been invited to a few, but I'm intentional about where I give my message or talk to people. So I will say that my name is MJ Evans. I went to prison. I'm going to start it off a little bit, go back a ways. And then all excuse me for breathing hard because I was running out in that brain trying to get this live up.
You're good. You're good.
All right. So I went to prison. Well, I was raised from a two-parent home. My mom was an educator. My dad was a businessman. So in essence, a middle of 5 children. So in essence, I did not have any reasons being inside of doing anything wrong. So I like the flashy things. I went to Jones High School. I went to St. Mark AME and St. Mark Free Methodist Church. I went to Memorial Middle School. I went to Catalina, Orange Center. So I'm right here I grew up right here, and I grew up in a good environment. But, I just want to go out there and behave, and want to go out there and do things differently. So I caught a charge in 2003 for bank fraud. So I was the type of person, I would go in there, I would do all type of fraudulistic stuff. I got basically racketeering, conspiracy, a number of fraudulent counterfeit charges. Wow. And they wanted to make an example out of me at that time. Because if we can be real and talk truthfully, especially at that time, they didn't think a young black man was capable of doing those type of things. So if you listen at the name of it, it's called white collar crime. Mm-hmm. Right? So me, I'm serious. So they never thought that someone like myself could do those type of things. So, and then they wanted to make an example out of me. You want to go around here robbing these banks? We're going to make an example out of you. I think it was an election year or something going on. And I got sentenced to 25 years in prison. I was about 20, I can't even remember how old I was at the time. I was really young. I was 24 or 25. Because at that time, if you're 24 or if you're 25 in the Department of Correction, they still consider you a youth. Mm-hmm. So you're still considered a youth offender. And that's even, youth camps are worse than adult camps. Mm-hmm. We'll get back to that. So during this time in prison, I've been to 21 institutions. We would need several sessions to talk about all of the
things. You're coming back, MJ. You're coming back.
Yeah. So there were several. I've been to 21 camps. I've been involved in almost anything that you can think about, from the good aspects of prison to the bad aspects of prison and everything in between. So during that journey, while I was incarcerated, I always believed in programs. I was on drugs in prison. I did K2 in prison. I did weed. I did Papa Molly. I'm sweat. When you sweat, we all sweat. So I did all of it. The only thing that I didn't do when I was in prison what I didn't like to do, and that was messing with marijuana because they do random drug tests and all that kind of stuff. But to the point I'm trying to make is I've seen it, I've done it all. I've almost taken someone's life. My life has almost been taken from me. I've been abused and beat up by the COs. The COs have saved my life. So it just goes on and on. And what I can describe as prison is hopelessness and despair, right? So if you can imagine being inside a prison, and if you lose a loved one, if you lose a family member, prison is a type of place where if you show any type of emotions, you can be judged, you can be labeled, you can be targeted. So a lot of people suffer in silence inside of there. Like when death is hard enough, but when you have individuals that die on you and you have no one to console you or no one you can lean on for that comfort of that loss, you got to suffer by yourself.
Yes.
So it was rough. I lost my auntie. I lost my grandmother. My little sister was 12 years old when I left the streets, and she was grown. Got a little 2-year-old son now. So I always stayed program focused, no matter what I did in prison. And what changed my life? I'm going to tell you what changed my life here. What changed my life is one day. I'm going to tell you guys this story. Not too many people know about it, but the world is going to know now. I had a guy that was at an institution I was in. He was young. He didn't know how prison worked. So he came in there flashy. I was a barber at the time. So he came in there flashy, trying to show off. And as I'm cutting his hair, I hear him getting into it with another individual. And so the other barber was trying to bully him, I would say. He he's new, he's green, so he was trying to bully him. And I was telling him, like, listen, man, you can't be bullying people around there like that. The man don't want to fight you. He's young, just leave him alone. That's all I said, right? And so prison is built of egos, and prison is loud. And so when I told him that, the other guy, he didn't say anything. He walked off. I ended up telling I'm going to say my homeboy, because he was really my homeboy from Orlando. And I pulled him to the side. I said, listen, when somebody's coming at you that way, or if they're being disrespectful, you have to stand up for yourself. That doesn't mean you have to fight them, but stand up for yourself, because if you don't, you're going to be marked, right? That's the only thing that I said to him. And then the next day, while I was walking to the chow hall, I was going inside of the chow hall, and there was a lot of people around, going. You have to be in the line. It's dark. First of all, when you go to chow, there's no one out there. It's dark. And if you're at an institution that's short-staffed, that's even worse. And most of them are that way right now. And so as I was walking, I feel something hit me. And it just felt like a pressure. And I was like, man, what is this? And then everyone around me separated, and they like spread it out from around me. And they say, hey, MJ. It was Nico at the time. That was my name in prison. They say, hey, you're bleeding. And I looked. I had blood all over my face, all over my pants and shoes. And I saw a guy running towards the chow hall. And the chow hall, if anybody don't know, that's where you go and you eat. So as I seen him, he had like a shirt wrapped around his face. And he went in the chow hall. And once he did that, I went behind him. I grabbed the tray, and I got my revenge on him. The officers came running in there. They're already short-staffed at this time. The officers come in there, and I turn around and I walk myself, and I'm taking myself to medical. Because in prison, back in the day, there's certain things that happen to people in there that can label you, and it can label you, and it can carry you for the rest of your sentence, even if you are innocent of it. So one of those things, back in the day, when a person was a pedophile or, abuser of women or something really drastic, or if they was in a gang, if you're in a gang or something like that, and then they want to keep. Are you still there? Okay.
Yes, we're still here.
So how much time do you have on here?
We're still here.
He's frozen. All these systems, we do ask that you bear with us as we try to get this figured out.
Yes, yes. You know, he just said something that we talked about, and that was important about, people dying and he just uh mentioned the same thing that we were talking about previously. Yes, there you are.
Are we
You're
here?
back. You froze, but you're back.
Okay. Thank you, Mama, for telling me I froze. My mama telling me, boy, you done froze. So where did I leave off?
Remember, I know you from your mother. We were in the Fishes of Soul prison ministry together, and we talked about you. So I knew you before I even met you. We would pray for you and my son.
Right.
So thank God for Mama, Miss Armour.
Right. And it's bad and it's loud
And that's mamas everywhere, Lynn, because they play such an important part when you have someone incarcerated.
Yes, they do.
Right. So, what was the last thing you guys heard me say?
You were talking about you can be labeled and it'll stay with you.
Yeah. So you can be
throughout.
labeled. So you can be labeled once you're in there. You can be labeled, and
There's an increased risk of victimization when you're labeled inside.
Yeah.
It can make you, you're vulnerable to bullying and things of that nature. So that is something as well. Also, exploitation. That is something on the inside.
What happens is labeled, and once you're labeled, like when back in the day, like gang bangers, people that's affiliated, if they want you out of the gang, if they want you off of the compound, what they'll do is they'll cut you. It's called a 50.
Yeah.
And what they'll cut you, that's going to even make you check in, or that's going to make people think that.
He's got some good stuff that he's talking about.
He's got some good stuff. We're going to have to extend and have him on next week for this, because this is some good stuff that, people, the loved ones need to know what their loved one goes through. There you go. Out in the rain, MJ.
And he can speak from his experience on the inside.
Right.
MJ?
So yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
So with that, when you're labeled a certain way, that makes it difficult for you. So when that happened to me, it happened to me because of, I'm just going to say, someone that was jealous, or that was in there, that heard that I was trying to save him. That's what I get for being in somebody's business. That's what I'm going to say. So in prison, you're supposed to mind your business. It don't matter if it's your homeboy, if it ain't blood to you, or get involved in something, you have to be ready for whatever those consequences are. So with that being said, when that happened to me, because I was trying to take up for my homeboy, I went to the box. And what changed my life at that moment, I remember 2016, when the chapel had to call my mom and told them something happened to her son. And so she didn't know what happened. She just knows something had happened. And the fear that was in her prompted them to let me call her. So I was able to call her, told her I was all right, and things like that. And I was in my cell that night, and I was just praying to God, and I say, God, I'm tired of this. It's 2016, but at this point, remember, I went to prison in 2003. So it's 2016 right now. So at this point, it made me feel like I just want to give up. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Hearing the pain in my mom's voice, Lord, if you just help me get to realize I'm young, I'm marked now. I'm marked. Everybody gonna label me all kind of ways for stuff I didn't do, for stuff that I did do. But what I was never going to do was check in and run, you know, because after the first, I'm gonna say about first 8 years of being in confinement, it took all fear out of me. I mean, being in prison, it took a lot of fear out of me. After going to 21 camps, all fear got out of me then, because of the things that you see and you witness in there, you know. And so when I was in there, I asked God, why am I here? I know I'm here because I did the things that I wasn't supposed to do. But then I knew it was a distance. And in that moment, I'm going to come back from this. And then ever since then, the Comeback Initiative Network, I was originally going with the Comeback Initiative. And I looked up trademarks and stuff. I did a little research, even while I was in prison. And I found out that they had stuff already called the Comeback Initiative. So I said, what I want to do, I want to make a network. I want to make a network where if I don't have some type of resource, that they can find what they need through my resource, through my platform. And in that moment, and it happened overnight, but I started transitioning my mindset. I started, I skipped a little bit. It was this lady, I was laying before I started praying to God, I was praying on the God, and I was like, God, I just don't want to do this no more. And then I remember I was laying on the ground, solitary floor. Now, in the box, at this time, I was in a room. I don't want got victimized, but they put me in a room with some boxes on, no bunk, no mattress, no nothing, because they thought I would be suicidal. So this lady came through. She threw a magazine under my bunk. It was called Victorious Living Magazine. And it was the first time I ever read a magazine that was a Christian-based magazine.
Yes.
And it talked about people and the things that happened in their lives once they got out of prison. And they were all that I read was about people incarcerated. I had never seen these type of stories before. So that's an education. And what really changed my life right here, right now today, I'll say this. I'll say it. World. At the time, he is now a major. Another lady, her name was Assistant Warden Keisha Jones. She is now a warden. So there's a lot of things happening in prison. So I witnessed all of this stuff. I witnessed me wanting to be a good person inside of programs when I decided to change my life. But it was a disconnect between the inmate population when you're in certain dorms. You got one apple can ruin the whole bunch, right?
Yes.
So you have people that want to do what's right, but you got that few in there that want to do what's wrong or handle their business or whatever they want to do. I mean, prison is prison. But I was seeing all of this stuff. I was seeing the people struggling. I was seeing the individuals that wanted to do what was right, but if they go say something, they marked as the police, they get hit up, or it's just all kind of crazy stuff. But I also seen a lot of people in there that wanted to get involved in programs. They wanted to be active, but there's nothing available for them, right? So what do you do with a man when you sit him in a dorm, when you sit him in prison and he has nothing to do? He's going to get involved in drugs.
Exactly.
He's going to gamble. He's going to get involved in gang activity. He's going to do all kinds of stuff. And then you're just sitting people there. And so I was in a re-entry dorm, and I went inside the dorm, and they actually put me in the dorm because, like I said, I was always involved in programs, making stuff. And there's stuff called prison politics. Now, if you think women gossip, let me tell you something.
Men do. Yes.
What? Let me tell you something. So we was in there, and I got in, I went in the dorm. Whenever you go to a new dorm or a new facility, what you're supposed to do is sit back, observe, watch, and that's just what you do. So I did that. I went in the dorm. I started seeing how everything was. Then they invited me to be a part of their leadership team. I started implementing ideas. And then here come the jealousy. You come to jealousy with the other program, the other inmate person. At the end of the day, he wrote a kite. A kite is something that they put on an inmate to get you sent out the dorm, or get you locked up, or get you transferred, or get you under investigation. So a kite is something that is very, very dangerous in prison, at certain prisons. Some prisons see kites and they don't believe it. But what I end up doing is I was in these different type of programs, and the captain, Captain Murphy, he came to me. He said, "Mr. Evans," he said, "they're going to get you moved out the dorm." I said, "What did I do?" He broke it down to me. He said, "You didn't do anything," but he said, "You know, prison politics and this and that, and by right, I'm gonna have to move you out the dorm because this is a 3 years and under less dorm." At the time, I had about 5 years still, but they wanted me inside of the program. So he said, "But what I want to do, it's a dorm called D dorm." I was at home CI. He said, "It's the least violent dorm on the compound but it is a violent dorm, but it's program based. It's called peer to peer." And I said, "Well, what is peer to peer?" He said, "Peer to peer." Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, they can hear me. So he said, "Peer to peer is a therapeutic community." Um, he said, "Peer to peer is it's a lag." I was talking to somebody out there listening. They got a listening part over there, about 10 people in front of a phone.
Oh,
So thank you. So I don't lost my train of thought.
you were talking
Peer
about
to peer.
moving. They wanted to
So
move
they had
you.
a right. So they didn't move me. So he said, "What I would do is, I need some help." They put me over this dorm. I believe with your skills and your heart, and I believe in your talent, and I think that you can go and help me turn the dorm around. Meaning, implement some of your ideas that you have. Because I was working in the chapel's office as an orderly at the time. He said, "I'll support you." He said, "I'm not looking for you to come and snitch and tell me anything." He wasn't like that. He was one of those captains that he feel like if you go and tell him something, or tell on another inmate, you'll tell on him. He was just by the rules. He was cool, but he just wasn't on that type of stuff. He said, "You go in there and do what's right." It's me. I'm going to be the OIC. I'm going to introduce you to Sergeant Pike. That was her name. I'll never forget. And Sergeant Decker Bain. Sergeant Pike name is Sergeant Carmichael now. And we went in there, we talked. So this is when I go back to telling you sometimes you have individuals that want to do what's right, but the masses or other people will prohibit that. So when I went in, I met with them and I said, and I talked to them. And we talked and I said, "Listen, guys, I'm not coming in here to take over. I want to play my part, but they asked me to come over here to be what was called clerk liaison. And the clerk liaison is the one that deals directly with the sergeant and the purpose
Right.
over the program. So I went in there. We're gonna fast track a little bit. I went in there. We talked. It was rough. It was really, really rough trying to get that together. I got set up. Somebody put dope under my bunk. Somebody put a hit on me. A guy tried to jump on me. They gave a guy who was a tweaker. That's a twacker. Somebody that smokes K2. I was going into confinement to cut hair, and somebody said a hit out on me. They want to get me out the dorm. They're not with these programs. They don't want programs. They want to sit in the dorm and just do whatever. So with that being said, the guy came and tried to jump on me, but he couldn't fight. So he jumped on me and got beat up. And then we both got locked up. 3 days later, the captain came and got me out because he knew what happened. A week after that, somebody put some drugs on me. A month later, somebody tried to stab me. And every time that happened, I kept going back. I kept going back. I kept going back. And eventually, God got in the way. They played itself out, and the dorm started turning around. We got everything aligned because, number one, if anybody that's listening under the sound of my voice, if you are in corrections, if you have the capabilities to run a program in a program dorm, you have to be able to have support from the top down. You cannot run a dorm, you cannot run a program if you don't have support from your top down or from all staff members that are in the dorm. If you have shifts A, B, and C, and A is the program dorm, what C and B gonna care about a program? And so if you have a programs dorm, you should have programs officers that's trained in that or that want to be there. And so at the end of the day, when the program was all said and done, we had our first graduation. I implemented a barbering class, all kind of things that I implemented. Wait, let me backtrack a little bit because this is important. Before I decided to go into the dorm, the man told me, Captain Murphy, or Major Murphy now, He said, if you can run and organize a dormitory full of men, full of violent men, and all kind of personalities, you could be successful on the street. He said, make this your blueprint, study, make your plan, and apply these same things when you get out there on the street. Now, that might sound a little cliche, but those words got me where I'm at right now because they stuck with me. And when I was with him, when I went into the programs, we got graduations. A lady named, I think her name is Williams, she was the peer-to-peer person from Tallahassee. She came down, she looked at our dorm, she seen all the organized, the classes. How did he do this? They took our model and took it to Tallahassee and started implementing it in other locations.
Mm.
You know, so that was really, really good at that. And they were so pleased and so successful and so happy what program turned around with the inmates, with the staff, the graduations, that at this time they got something called a permanent party. So they got something that's called permanent party. And you have to be up under 17 months. You have to be 14 months before you go to work release. God started stepping in then. They got me at 17 months.
Won't he do
Now
it?
let me tell you something. Anybody else won't he do it? Won't
Yes,
he do it?
he is.
And he was just getting started.
Wow.
Because I called my mom, begging my mom, they sending me to West Palm Beach. I don't want to go to West Palm Beach. I want to go to Orlando. And my mom and my dad both told me, like, son, you going to work release. You coming out of prison. And it's like, you need to go and sit yourself down before you mess up what God blessings have for you. You don't know what God got
That's
for you.
right.
I may come down here and go right back to prison. So I went to work release. I went to West Palm Beach work release. And when you go to work release facility, it's still all a transition, right? You're still not free. It's just an extension of a confinement.
Exactly.
But it's a good one.
Yeah.
If you do right, but you're still kind of like in the midst of it all. So I went up there, going down there to the West Palm Beach work release facility. You have to be there 2 weeks before you're able to get your phone. Get your
Right.
phone. The first week, 7 days. After you get your phone for 7 days, you have to be on the compound or at the facility for 3 months before you're able to go out and look for a job. So while everybody else got their phone, it was on Facebook and on Twitter, on Instagram, doing all that stuff, MJ was in classes. I was studying and I was looking for a job. I was getting certificates. I was calling staffing agencies, and I ran into a staffing agency called A and Associates. I called A and Associates. It was a lady by the name of Yahara, I think her name Diaz. She was at the time the office manager. That might not be the correct word. Branch manager. She was the branch manager. And I called her. I said, ma'am, this is me. I'm at the work release facility. I said, my name is MJ or Marcus. They were calling me Nico at the time. So I told her my name is Marcus. And then she said, I said, I'm in work release. She said, okay, when you get out? And I told her, and I was just telling her all of the stuff that, that I think I can do to benefit the company. And she said, well, you just keep checking in with me. And by the time you get ready to get out, call me. So at the 40-day mark, I called her. At the 30-day mark, I called her. At the 35-day mark, at the 15-day mark, I just kept calling. Hey, this me. I started claiming it. Hey, boss. And she said, you kind of persistent, aren't you? I said, I sure am.
Wow.
And so when I was able to go, I called her. I say, ma'am, the day is my last day. Well, yesterday is my last day. I can come out and I can come meet you. She said, okay, well, I know you got to get ready and set you up for an interview just because they released you the first day you don't want to come out. I said, ma'am, my clothes on. I already called the ride. A share ride. I'm on the way.
You were ready.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a man of action,
You
ma'am.
are.
I don't wait patient. I don't wait too long for
Can
stuff.
I interject
And my
for a
family
moment
always-
with that, MJ?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you all, MJ and I were at an event last week with the Orlando Central Florida Urban League. That MJ knows everybody. He's a great connector. I woke up the other morning and was going somewhere. MJ had me on the phone with someone from my organization. And that's one thing, MJ, I have to attest to that. You are a connector, and that's what Lee and I are. And I like that because together we are powerful in our organizations. And that's one thing that you have come out, and you're a great connector. So God definitely has given you that gift to connect.
Mhm.
Yes, I feel that way too. Because that's why it's called network. We go back to
Exactly.
that word network again,
Exactly.
right? So also, um, when I went to wait, I lost my thought.
It's
When I
okay.
went to what part I was on again? After that, I was
It's
saying,
okay. We have
oh,
about
A&A.
5 more minutes, MJ. So I really want you to talk about the comeback. Yes. And then we're going to
Okay,
bring
so
you back
the company.
on. Yes.
Okay, I appreciate it. The Comeback Initiative Network reentry workforce in the house. You see it? This is what it is. This
Yes.
inspires me. I wake up and I see this. I see this, right?
Yes.
The Comeback
Yes.
Initiative Network reentry workforce and leadership development. It's designed by when I was in prison, I seen all these rappers, all these artists, all these portraits, all this talent. So that's what the Comeback Initiative is about right there. The Comeback
Okay, got
Initiative
you.
is about giving men second chances that need to come out here to give them skills. Briefly, guys, I'll tell you this. I'm going into prison tomorrow. I'll be meeting with the classification officers and some department heads. So we're going to do some surveys. We're going to implement the program. I'm going to be there 3 days a week. Once they get in our program, I'm going to walk with them 60 days out, 3 months out, 9 months out, six. It don't matter. We're going to walk with them all the way to this point. Our job is to make sure when they walk out that gate, they got a job offer in their letter. If they don't have nowhere to go to, we got 2 houses for them.
Mm.
So that's what it's about. Then that's going to turn to 3 houses, then four
Great.
houses, then we're going national. So the Comeback Initiative Network is MJ. That's what I am. And when you connect with MJ, you connect with a whole network. We do it all. And
Yes.
it's just not like if I can't find something for you, I got somebody that can. One thing MJ can give you is a lot of exposure because people connect to real stories.
Connection.
What I love about this and what I love about thank you to all of the followers who out there supporting me. Man, the pages are growing astronomical. I can't even keep up. And the funny part about it, all of this is about reentry, about institutional programs, about second chances. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a person that makes content creations and stuff like that for that. I'm focused on these men and women out there. Guess
Exactly.
what? We got a division for
Yes.
you too. We got a
Mm.
Yes.
division for y'all too. So
Exactly.
I
And
think
that is so important, MJ. You're in the giving back. And that's why Leah and I started this as well. From our lessons learned, we never want a loved one to be out there stuck, don't know where to go, who to call. MJ, I commend you on all that you have done because you've been out since when? When were you released?
I was released in 2023 to work release, and I was officially done 2020. I have not been out of the prison 3 years. I'm a program
Woo!
architect. I'm an Amazon influencer. I'm an influencer. I'm a CEO. I got a media group. I'm connected to very, very, very reputable and good candidates. I'm supporting different political figures. I'm standing alongside of them. And I think it's important that the men see me. They see me
Exactly.
standing to somebody like
Exactly.
that so they can see themselves. So
Hit
that's
the
what I'm
ground
about.
running.
If anybody want to know, I'm going to always support institutional programs. I'm never going to stop supporting it. I'm going to do what I can to give them real information and real stuff that they can use when they get out here and can contribute to the workforce. Because everybody, nothing bad about this, but everybody don't want to be a laborer. Everybody don't want to get on the back of a truck. I'm no nothing bad
Exactly.
with that to all of you out there working. But I don't want people to think those are the only type of jobs that people coming out of prison can get.
Exactly. You know what? Nobody understands unless they've walked a mile in your shoes. So
Right.
when you've walked a mile in the shoes, then you know exactly what they need. And
Mhm.
that was what
Exactly.
Lee and I. So you know what? Who better? But look at God. God raised you up out of there, and He had a purpose and a plan and a process. So through the process, God's plan took you through the process and the pain to get you here to Your purpose. That is so awesome. MJ, I like and look forward to working with you, your personality and everything. And you know what I like about you more than anything? You keep it real. You keep
That's
it
right.
real and you're centered. So, little did I know you were doing all this. And when I got up there and I saw you and how you work with the sheriff's department and how you're doing things, you're reaching back to help those. You are to be commended. And
Mhm.
God definitely had his hand on you, and his hand is still on you because he continues to open up doors for you. And as he opens up doors for you, you're reaching back and opening up doors for others. And that is
I want to
part.
say something. I want to say something to that. Everybody that's listening, I am working with the sheriff department. When they
Yes, you
called
are.
me, they asked me could I speak at some of their youth defense. So I don't want y'all thinking about them setting nobody up now. MJ don't do none
Yes.
of that. So I'm
Yes.
working with them in that sense. They reached out to me. One of the sheriffs say, "Hey, would you like to come and talk to some of our young men that we think going down the wrong path?" I said, "Give them to
Great.
me." So
Yeah.
yes, that is. I just wanted to make that small interjection, but yeah, you're right, ma'am. And
Yeah.
I
You
think what
work.
you're doing, you're talking about me. This is how we can
Oh,
collaborate. I'm
yeah.
working with the men in there. I'm getting their mindsets right. And what like the stuff that you're doing, we got a place over here for y'all too. We got a
Yes.
lot of stuff that we can send to y'all because collaboration is key
Yes,
to
it is.
everything. You
Yes,
got to
it
have
is. And
collaboration.
I just thank God for your mother and how a praying mother covered you. And I just thank God for that. And I'm glad to be able to put the name with the face, from knowing Armor and her spirit and how, a parent suffers just like you. That's why we call this the healing journey, because we're on a learning journey together. We're
That's
all
right.
learning because we didn't choose this. We don't, this is a uncharted path for you and
Right.
for us. So,
Mhm.
we want to help everybody. But in the next 2 weeks, MJ and I are working on some projects together and we're going to get it together. Again, we have to close, but we want you all to come out. MJ, you're going to have a tent out there and your comeback initiative at the Callahan Center with us on that day, correct?
Yes, I am. And you under the side
In
of
the
your belt
hot
if you got
sun.
people in prison. Get about those men in prison. Accountability. I'm a personal
Thank
accountability
you.
Amen.
now. But don't forget about them.
Yes.
Don't forget about them
Yes.
in there. A letter, a
Don't.
phone
And
call, one
Amen.
phone
MJ, you're gonna
call,
be back on
$5.
here.
Okay. Thank
Exactly.
you guys for having me. I
MJ, we're
really
gonna have
appreciate
you
y'all.
back on here. We love you. We thank God for you and all you've been through. And you haven't even started to tell your story. So you know what? Now
No,
you're
that
gonna
was a
have to
little
get
piece of it.
that was a piece. Now you have a chance, and I'm gonna put you on put you on the schedule again. We're gonna have your cousin on the next 2 weeks, and he's gonna talk about how he became a licensed real estate person. So he's going to be
Okay,
on.
and you need to have Miss Sharon Driver. Sharon Driver, who I told you about, she is the female version of MJ.
Oh wow.
So it's two of us out here now,
Wow.
Okay.
right?
And
And she
Sharon
was out
has
here
how
before me.
many
So
homes?
she has 18 shared living facilities,
Wow.
and she beat her own appeal. So I mean, I'm gonna make an introduction to you. I think it's important that people hear about her story as well.
Oh yeah.
That would be great.
I
I'm
got a
gonna
couple
have her
candidates for
on
you
in
too now.
July.
We'll talk about it.
Yes. So
Mhm.
until we see
Okay.
you all again, we want to thank you so much for allowing us to come into your hearts, come into your homes, and fill that empty spot. And if it's not empty, we are just grateful that you allow us in to add to your life. We thank you. As prayers go up, blessings come down. So please cover your loved ones and cover us as we go out to do God's will also. Again, your donations are greatly needed. We can't do it without those donations. So please go to ourlessonslearned.org. There's a donate button there, and you can donate to our organization. We love you. We thank you. And peace be still. And remember, peace is what we look for in this season. Okay? Remember, many can occupy a chair, but God is the only one on the throne. Okay?